Hello, guys. Welcome to the ATM Podcast. My name is Munashe Kirimi. I am joined by Thabang Munashe. We are just going to be reacting to Manchester United's 1-0 loss to Brighton yesterday, and we are going to see whether or not and discuss whether it's a possibility that United could drop top four. So, what do you think, TB, from about last night's result and our future prospects for top four?
Well, after last night's game, I don't think it looks too good for us because a draw would have put us in a much better position. The first half was pretty even, and then as always, second half just goes to shit basically. Um, I'd say Martial was nowhere, man. Like he should be dropped. I hope that we don't re-sign him next season. I think he should leave. He's not good enough, which is why I think we need two strikers. Because man, something about the attack was just lacking in that second half. Brighton were all over us. That whole second half, if we're being honest, it was all Brighton. The penalty was bullshit. Reason why? The free kick that led to that penalty shouldn't have been awarded. And luckily Ten Hag did reference that as well in the game. He did mention that free kick was quite harsh that we conceded. But overall, Man United's away form is just atrocious, man. If we're being honest, this whole season hasn't been very convincing. Whenever we go to any type of hostile environment, I've mentioned this before in earlier episodes that you know Man United tend to crack under the pressure when it comes to playing away games. We just seem to not play very well when the crowd's against us. And also, I think after last night, it showed us we definitely need two new strikers coming in for Man United. If we're being honest, we need two new guys come in, two new guys who will compete for a spot, and hopefully, and we only gonna be in stage two of the rebuild once the season's open over, and for us to win, to make sure that we're in top four, we gotta get a good result against West Ham. It should definitely be a win. We shouldn't draw the game because if we draw that game, we're just putting more pressure on us. Brighton still have two games in hand, and if they win those two games in hand, they could potentially be in a top four hunt as well. So not just Liverpool's a threat to us, so it's also the team that we just lost against last night that's a threat to us. And with everything I said, man, how do you feel about it?
To be honest, it's not a train smash that we lost because within regards to Brighton, I have the fixtures in front of me. They have some tough games, so I don't think they'll be a threat because they still have to play Manchester City, who want to win the league, obviously. They also have to play
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal. They have to face Everton, who are in a relegation scrap. Newcastle as well, who want to secure top four. Okay, Southampton, they're gonna win that game. The Villa game is more tricky to call. So I do think the threat of Brighton is going to be snuffed out pretty quickly. I am concerned about Liverpool though. They are playing a lot better. So that is a
Yeah.
concern for me. But to get back to United, I think there are some winnable games here. To be quite honest, we have a home game against Wolves, which I think we'll win. We have Bournemouth, who are pretty much safe. And even though me and Obakwe had some disagreements about the Scott Parker sacking, I do think that they aren't that good a team because not everything has clicked perfectly because they did go up and down under O'Neill. There were periods
Yeah.
where they were just losing and losing, and then they got back on track. So I think we'll beat Bournemouth because it's not a very, very hostile environment. We have a home game against Chelsea, who are not playing well. We have a home game against Fulham, who have nothing to play for. So I do think that we are gonna still make top four. It would take a collapse of epic proportions for us to lose that top four spot. And I think
Would,
if
would,
Christian Eriksen, what were you gonna say?
I'm saying, like we've seen in recent years that where we crumble. Like last season, we almost didn't make Europa League. Because remember we had that disappointing draw to Brighton, but then luckily West Ham also drew, which is why they didn't finish in fifth that season. And remember, you know, right now I'm seeing the similar type of indicators from last season even, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's quite scary thinking about it. It's quite frustrating because you would think that even a manager of Ten Hag's quality would be able to handle the situation better. But it just shows, man. Even he can't make miracles, man. The players got to come out. They got to play. I didn't have a problem with any of the substitutions. I heard some pundits and other podcasters out there, like, they weren't too happy with the subs that Ten Hag made in the second half. But I mean, they were all fair, bruh. If you look at it, Martial had to come off. Anthony had. I don't remember if Anthony came off. Did he come off? Now I remember
He did
Martial
come
came off.
off.
I know Fred came off. I know Fred came off for Sabitzer. Yeah, and Anthony also came off. So you know that's the thing, man. But I will say this. I hope Ganacho's back because we're gonna need him. We're really gonna need him. He's much more of a direct player on the wing. Even more. I would say even more direct than Anthony by far. He doesn't. He's not scared to take on players. He's got great pace. He's more of a goal threat than Anthony this season. Hopefully, Anthony can fix that next season. Um, but yeah, if Canacho's back, that's gonna be a big positive because we do need the ammunition up front. Martial coming back from injury. It's just showing us even he's not enough. We thought that maybe he could pick up on all form, but nah. I think it's the end for Martial at us. But uh, I think, like you were mentioning earlier, man, it's possible that, yeah, our fixtures are kind of in our favor, and I agree with you. I think all the home games we can get good results in, but you know, are we playing Bournemouth away? What did that fixture say, by the way?
It's Bournemouth away.
So okay, even with Bournemouth, we us playing Bournemouth away now. We gotta, one thing that showed me from last night. Last night, now that first off, we could have been 3-0 up if we're being all honest. Anthony missed two setters, especially the one in the first 2 minutes of the game where he was one on one with the keeper, and then I think he took the shot on his right foot and then it blasted wide. And then he had another one around the 30-minute mark, somewhere around the 35th minute mark, where again he had a good chance and then he hit the side netting with his left foot. He hit the side netting. You know, you got to look at those chances and think, hey man, if Rashford was there, you know what to expect. Anthony could have definitely had a brace, last night, if we're being honest. But he
You're
didn't. He
souring a
didn't. He
bit
didn't.
on your boy.
Nah, it's disappointment, man, because it's unnecessary pressure, bro. At the end of the day, it's unnecessary pressure. We could have won that game. I know Moises Caicedo had Rashford in his back pocket. That's for damn sure. He was brilliant at right back, and I didn't think that he could play that position. I really didn't think so. But he was brilliant against Rashford. He did a great job against him. I think Matoma had quite a little bit of success against Wan-Bissaka, if we're being honest, as well. So it's not that the players in the first half had a better half. That second half, man, just it took the life out of me, man. But what were you gonna continue on before I rudely interrupted you?
To be honest, I lost my train of thought. But I'm not that worried about a run
Top
of
four.
fixtures. I think there are lots of winnable games there. But we need to win the majority of those games because right now Liverpool are playing better. And
Much
even
better,
though we
man.
do have a game in hand, the I am concerned about the West Ham game. The only other fixture I'd say I do have a concern about, even with our even without the whole away form factor, is the home game against Wolves. Because usually when we play Wolves, it's always a very scrappy game. There's been a lot of draws in
Yeah,
those games. So I'd say that's
yeah,
the only game I'm worried about. But overall, there's only five fixtures left. Liverpool are sitting on 59. They have four games left while we have five. So they can get a maximum of 71 points. We can get a maximum of 78. So if we can get at least three wins, we're sorted. And if Liverpool drop points somewhere, we're fine. And like I said,
yeah,
our home games are very winnable. Like if we lose to Chelsea, no,
bro.
that cannot
Yeah, I don't
happen.
see it either.
They are
Dude,
with six losses on the bounce. There's
that's
already
what
an
I'm saying,
inquest
man.
with some of these players. If they lose that, some of those players should never wear the United shirt again. I know it's a bit hyperbolistic, but guys, this is a Chelsea team that's playing really badly. You can't be losing to
Yeah,
that team.
I
So,
mean, I've even seen them use as a front three. I'm not even lying to you, bro. You can even go look it up. They use Cody Gallagher, João Felix, and I think Kante as a front three, bro. Imagine.
I don't think that's legit, man. I really don't think that's
Nigga,
legit.
I swear to you, they used that in one of the games this season, earlier this season. I can't remember which game it was, but Lampard literally used that as a front three, bro.
I'll have to
And
check with
Mudrik
that fan who
was available
commented
that
on that
game.
post. I'll have to
Yeah,
check with the fan who commented on that post because he's a Chelsea fan. So if he ever listens to this, shout out Javan. Thanks for the comment. And thanks for backing me up with my point that Scott Parker sucks. So shout out to you.
nah,
But Tabang,
I
back to
think
my
I think
point.
Scott Parker. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, back to my point
Nah,
because
got
we know you're gonna defend Scott Parker, which is nonsense. It's a home game against Fulham. Easy dub because they're on the beach now and they don't have Europa League to play for anymore. It's a
yeah,
home game against Chelsea, which we need to win. There's no excuse. Bournemouth, I think, are pretty much safe, so they can go on the beach. And even though we're not that good at away games, we can still win. I mean, we beat Forest. We did win a couple of other away games, and crucially, it's not a, we're not going to an away ground against teams that are in the upper echelons of the Premier League. We've seen that when it's the lower half of the Premier League, we do tend to win those away games. So even though I am a little worried about West Ham, there is a possibility, and I can see us getting a result from this game. So I don't see us bottling top four. It would be a major bottle job if we do. And
bro.
Liverpool, we do need to be wary about. But I did see a lot of sentiment online worried about what would happen because of how we played away from home and thinking that, hey,
That's what I'm
Liverpool are in
saying,
good
man.
nick. But I don't think we'll lose top four, and I don't think we ultimately have anything to worry about in the end. But I
Well,
think
check, bro.
games. What do you think?
I was about to say, man. Like, I see what you're saying, eh? And I'm as a from a fan standpoint, I'm 100% with you now. But yo, we definitely need a result against West Ham for me to feel more comfortable. Because I'm looking at Liverpool's fixtures, and I'm like, man, I can honestly see them getting. I can see them getting maximum point. Okay, maybe not the Aston Villa game because Aston Villa they just very bad against. They don't play too well against Aston Villa. I believe their last game against Aston Villa they lost, and that was early in the season. I'm looking at their games, man, and look, tomorrow they play Brentford, and then they got Leicester City, and then they got Aston Villa. The one game that makes me think, Aston Villa could get a result. They probably will get a result, even if it's just a draw. And then they have Southampton, and I'm looking at our fixtures, and I'm like, man, Liverpool actually have a much, 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 much better fixture list than us, So for us to have real confidence, we gotta have back-to-back victories. We gotta beat West Ham, and then we. I think we still have Newcastle, right? Or we done with them?
Nah, we're
We
done
got
with them.
West Ham, Wolves. Oh, we got West Ham, Wolves, and then Bournemouth. Okay, no, those are very winnable games. I'm with you on that too. Those are very winnable games, but will we win them? Uh,
I
only
think we'll
time will
win all
tell.
three. I think we'll win all
You
three.
think? Yeah, and it's just, yeah, it's just the Wolves game that really that makes me go like, maybe that game ends in a draw. But the other games, yeah, I think we got a pretty good record against those other teams, so we should be able to do the job. Um, but yeah, like you were saying, man, it would be a massive bottle job if we do bottle top four at this point. Because I saw Newcastle are ahead of us, and we are tied on the same amount of games as them too. So it looks like Newcastle might just end up in that third place spot as well.
Because we don't score enough goals, and there have been periods where we have been leaky. It also doesn't help that we got battered 7-0 by Liverpool,
Nah,
but
that
it is
is true,
what it
bro.
is.
And it also
But I
doesn't help that Rashford is our only like real goal threat there too. That's why I'm saying, hey man, we really need to bring in two more strikers next season. Next season, it's a definite, man. We have to bring in two new strikers, and you know, a perfect starter next to the midfield of Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, man. There's gotta be players that we gotta look at that we can make us believe like, okay, no, these guys can complement Bruno and Casemiro perfectly. I'm still I'm still with Sabitzer and Casemiro and Ericsson staying. I want them both to stay, and then I want Fred and McTominay to leave. I'd rather have Ericsson and like a Ericsson Latvia. Hopefully we can lure him from Southampton. Ericsson Latvia and Sabitzer as the replacements would be amazing for us for next season. But we definitely need a starter next to Bruno and Casemiro. The dream player would probably be De Jong, but I think we're gonna be priced out of that deal.
I think here we're gonna have to disagree. Although to just come to De Jong before I get to my main point, I think look, De Jong has made it very clear that he doesn't want to come to United. He really just
Yeah, I
wants
know
to
that.
stay at Barcelona. So just to put that to bed, I'm not really that worried about the striker. I think midfield, like you said, is the bigger issue. I still like the
Nah,
midfield
more
three.
more more striker. But like I did say, like yeah, I think a midfielder is still crucial. We definitely need one very crucial midfielder. That's for sure. But striker is my priority. If I'm being honest.
If if I had to rate them in terms of importance, I'd say a midfielder. Midfielders are top of my list. I'd also say a goalkeeper, then
Yeah,
strike
that
a
yeah.
striker, and then centre backs. I'm happy with our fullbacks. I don't see the need to bring in Jeremy Frimpong. In
Yeah,
terms
because
of
that deal's
centre
also
back,
expensive, man.
nah, but we're gonna have state money, TB. So expensive doesn't really matter. But back to the centre backs. I think we'll need that because I think Malasia is not ready to be a regular. So Luke Shaw will be at left back, and we need a really good backup centre back and our best backup centre back. I know he made a mistake for the penalty, but Luke Shaw has been really good at centre back. And like I
Nah,
said in the
I
previous,
don't have any complaints against him in that game, man. You know, I really don't. I felt like Luke Shaw was a brick wall in that game, except that handball, man. But that penalty shouldn't have happened. Because I still feel like we've been hard done by VAR this season compared to a lot of other top clubs. We've been hard done by. I mean, a great example is that Liverpool game from last week where Darwin Nunez literally dived in front of the player and got a penalty. I mean, come on, bruh. That's why they're calling. I saw this trend going around on Twitter. They're calling Liverpool Liverpool. Like, it was actually quite funny because of the amount of times VAR has came to Liverpool's rescue, man. I think the referees have a Liverpool agenda. They're not trying to make Liverpool. Liverpool should be lower than where they actually are right now. If I'm being honest with you, they've been fortunate with a lot of decisions made by refs.
yo, talk about a tangent, TV. But back to Shaw, I think that Luke Shaw's been very good, but guys, he's probably going to be playing mostly at left back. So we need a
Yeah, for
really good
sure.
backup, third choice centre back, because it looks like Maguire, despite what you may think of him, he's a player that doesn't want to stay on the bench. And he's shown that from his time at Hull, that if he's not playing, he'll go search for game time elsewhere. There was a
Yeah.
period, to go on a tangent, where he wasn't playing for Hull, and he went out on loan at Wigan to get some game time. So I think he will look for game time elsewhere. In the
No,
midfield,
that's for
I
sure.
think in the midfield, I think Casemiro is gonna be a walking red card soon. It seems
Yeah,
like the refs do target him a little bit, and
he
there's
he
also
could
a
have gotten
factor
a red
of
card too.
very true. And also, this isn't La Liga. I feel like the refs are more stricter here, and even though I think some of the red cards were harsh, like the Southampton one, even the Palace one, he could have gotten away with that in La Liga. But I do think to a
Yeah,
degree
that's
he
for
has
sure.
been targeted, yeah. So I think he will get suspended a lot. And then Ericsson, we also need a very good backup for him because
No,
there have been
Ericsson
games.
has to be the backup, man. That they remember that.
Nah,
That's what I was implying.
Ericsson is still quality. I still think he's
Nah,
good
he
enough
is.
to start. We need someone to come on at like the 60 minute or 65 when he starts to tie because some of the games and some of his passes are really good. And I think
Yeah.
he's a more calming influence. And I think like the Spurs game, I think we lost that game into not lost but drew that game and lost those goals because he came off because some of the passes he made in that game, like the pass to Bruno.
Absolute brilliant.
So
Yeah.
I think a backup to Casemiro and someone to share the minutes with Ericsson would be really good. Now that I think about it, you never know. Southampton are relegated, along with Lavia being a nice Casemiro backup. Maybe, James Ward Prowse will finally be a threat from set pieces. So, you never know.
Now that is true. That is true.
And then,
But do you think we but I can't see us going after James Ward Prowse. I mean he plays very similar to an Ericsson if I'm being honest with you. He's
Then
like a
then you
he's
need,
like a
yeah, but you need a
classic number
backup
10.
though. But you need a
Yeah, you
backup for
definitely
Ericsson
do.
and someone to help with his minutes because Ericsson's still old. We've seen games he tires. And also, it will take away that excuse of, I don't have any players to rotate with. Well, now, Eric, you do have your players to rotate with. Use them. And then with the
Yeah.
goalkeeper, as much as I want Dean Henderson to be given a shot, and that's my hope, all the stories you read are that the club or Ten Hag, whichever party it is, don't want him sold and don't want to give him a chance. So I think a goalkeeper is really needed. And then I think you can live without a striker. If Rashford can replicate this form, Garnacho's gonna play more next season, and like you said, he is a bigger threat. Hopefully, Anthony turns on the end
Yeah,
product.
I
Although I
think next
think
season he'll turn it on, man.
let's hope so. Otherwise, you will never hear the end of it from Obakwe.
He's not a pro. He's not a concern, man. I think the fact that Anthony can get into the positions tells me that he just needs to work on the end product, which is just finish. You know what I'm saying? Because he gets himself into those positions and he does it very well. Like he's been actually very underrated on that regard. He gets into the positions. His only issue is that he doesn't finish the chances off. And it's crucial chances because when you like the Brighton game would have showed you, man. When we miss those chances, nah, and in the second half, man, if we go into that second half knowing that, hey, man, after the first half we could have been 3-0 up, we go in with a horrible attitude in the second half, man. The way everything just blows over, the passes and combinations seem to not be working, and everything up top is not in sync anymore. Now Rashford is sleeping because he's cold because people aren't getting the ball to him. You know, man, we got a lot of work. We got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you could say that. But I think, back to the main point, I think overall we'll be fine. Although, worst case scenario, if the worst comes to shove, it will be very difficult to tell where this team goes from here. Because
Yeah,
if they lose top four, I think it will be very deflating for the squad.
no,
And
that's
I
true.
do wonder how the coach will pick these players back up again. So that is my one concern.
Now we'll see what happens. I think what Eric needs to do going into the West Ham game, he needs to I think he would have had a talk with the guys and especially about attitude because he's been preaching that good is not good enough. We gotta keep our foot on the gas. We can't have games where we amazing one game like Aston Villa. We were great despite the score only being 1-0. We were great. We had a lot more of the ball. We had a much better pass completion as well. We were much more of a threat going forward. We were solid defensively. We gotta study that game. I feel the team's gotta study that game and see, hey man, this is what we did right in that game, and that's how we gotta apply that theory for the next couple of games. Because if we wanna make sure that we in that top four spot, we gotta play like that where we just got total control of the game. Even when we don't have the ball, we get the ball quickly because of the press. There's gotta be as much urgency in that game. In the Aston Villa game, we gotta have that urgency going forward. The attitude in that Brighton game in that second half was, yeah, it was something else, man. So we gotta do better. But I think we will. I don't think like you were saying that we won't make top four unless we lose the West Ham game. I'll probably have a different opinion.
Then I guess we can wrap it up, man. We both think we'll make it into the top four,
Yeah.
and certain players are done. So I think overall we'll be okay. Who do you think will start on Sunday?
Who do I think? Of course, it's probably gonna be De in goal. Defense will most likely be the same defense. I think it'll probably be Luke Shaw and Lindelof again as the centre backs. Maybe Malasia comes in at left back just to switch it up, and then Dalot at right back. Because I think the reason why Wan-Bissaka played in the Brighton game was because of the success he had in the FA Cup game against Matoma. So I don't think Ten Hag would have an issue playing Malasia and Dalo as the fullbacks in that game. Of course, midfield will be most likely Casemiro, Ericsson, and Bruno, and then the front three will probably be. I know for a fact Martial's gonna get dropped. He was atrocious. If he's not dropped, that will be like the first incident where I'm like, yo, Ten Hag did a mistake with that choice. You know what I'm saying? That will probably be the first incident where of anger that I have towards the coach if he doesn't drop Martial for that game. So yeah, like I said, the front three will probably be Rashford. If Canacho's healthy, he starts. If he's healthy, and then maybe Sancho on the left, and then I think Anthony's gonna be on the bench because of those chances he missed in the Brighton game. I think he might get dropped because of that.
Isn't Anthony suspended?
Is he suspended after the yellow card? I didn't know that. I didn't know.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But if he is, you know, then the front three that I just mentioned is probably gonna be the front three. And if
All
Ganacho's not
right.
available, it will probably be like Veghorst, Rashford, and Sancho. Yeah, I think that will be the front three if Ganacho's not available.
Yeah, I guess we're
What do
gonna
you
go
think
with
the team's
very
gonna be?
similar teams. Nah, we'll
Oh
go
shit.
with a similar team. Same
Okay, yeah.
goalkeeper, same back four. I hope Ericsson is fit for this game because he wasn't playing against Brighton, and I think if he plays and we can get some goals early on, like two or three, we're done. We will win that game
We'll win that game. Yeah.
because I think Ericsson, when he came back, has shown his importance. So Ericsson, Fernandez, and Casemiro. In a perfect world, I'd hope for a front three of Rashford, Sancho, and Pelistri. That's wishful thinking because I like what I've seen of Pelistri.
I
But
do,
I
I
would
do too,
go
man.
with.
But he doesn't really. I don't know why. But the coach hasn't really been giving him that much of game time. I wouldn't personally know because I don't know how those training sessions go. But yeah, I would think that he could just throw in Palestri, but I don't think that's not likely to happen. I don't think Palestri gets a start. Definitely he'll come. He might come off the bench.
Nah, that's true. That's why Sancho, Veghorst, and Rashford would be my front three. Martial has gotten the chances, he hasn't taken them. So it is what it
Yeah.
is. Move on to something new.
All right. I think with that we can wrap up today's podcast. Guys, please just be sure to Follow us on all our social media platforms and please subscribe to our YouTube. We have two brand new videos which we've just dropped last night actually. So please be sure to run it up. Please comment, like, subscribe, do all of that good things and share as well. We're trying to build this community of football enthusiasts around the world, not just in South Africa. And yeah, with that said, deuces everyone.